My name is Denley Lockwood, and very soon I'll be dead. It's just, I don't know, it just has a very special place in my heart. Yeah, I will always love these books, even if they're not the best written, but yeah. The second in the series is called Lifeblood. So you can see it's got that hourglass again, but this time it's broken. Why is it broken? I wonder why it's broken. And then the third book in the series, which is the last one, it's a trilogy, is Everlife. And you've got the bottom half of that hourglass again. So that's the Everlife series by Gina Sherwalter. Keeping up with the nostalgic era, let's move on to the Maze Runner series. I have actually been meaning to reread this series, but I haven't gotten around to it. But I was like a die-hard Maze Runner fan. I had a Tumblr and everything, reblogger and things, whatever. And the reason I even read these books in the first place was because I was a die-hard Teen Wolf fan, and therefore Dylan O'Brien fan. And I found out that Dylan O'Brien was going to be starring as Thomas in The Maze Runner, so of course I had to then go and read the books. And I love the books, they're so good, and I am going to say so much better than the movies. So much better than the movies. So going in order. So, of course, the first book is The Maze Runner. You can tell how old it is. Look at the yellow pages. The yellow pages. I think there's no point even reading the blurb for this. By now, I feel like you should know what The Maze Runner is about, right? But alas, I will read it anyway. When the doors of the lift crank open, interesting choice of words there. I wonder what certain things in these books are called. Could be cranks, perhaps. The only thing Thomas can remember is his first name, but he's not alone. He's surrounded by boys who welcome him to the Glade, an encampment at the center of a bizarre and terrible maze. Like Thomas, the Gladers don't know why or how they came to be there, or what's happened to the world outside. All they know is that every morning when the walls slide back, they will risk everything to find out. So that's the first one. The second one is The Scourge Trials. The Scourge Trials is my favorite book in the whole series, and probably my least favorite movie. They really did me wrong. They did me wrong with the movie. Read the book, it's so much better, like genuinely so much better. So The Scourge Trials, and then the third is The Death Cure, which, looking at the size of the book, I don't know how they split. Did they split The Death Cure into 2 movies? They did, right? It did not need to be split into 2 movies, I feel, but alas. And then this is a prequel. This is before the sun flares. Actually, it's sort of tells a story of how everything came to this series is really about. I mean, the first book, if I were to compare what the first book is about to the one that I'm on now, it's completely different. Like, people, the growth, the way that the story has evolved is insane. So this is kind of where it starts and how it starts. So, the Earth is dying. Darrow is a red, a miner in the interior of Mars. His mission is to extract enough precious elements to one day tame the surface of the planet and allow humans to live on it. The Reds are humanity's last hope, or so it appears, until the day Darrow discovers it's all a lie, that Mars has been habitable and inhabited for generations by a class of people calling themselves the Golds, a class of people who look down at Darrow and his fellows as slave labor, to be exploited and worked to death without a second thought, until the day Darrow, with the help of a mysterious group of rebels, disguises himself as a Gold and infiltrates their command school, intent on taking down his oppressors from the inside. But the command school is a battlefield, and Darrow isn't the only student with an agenda. It is described as like the Hunger Games in space, but when I was reading it, like, yeah, I get that, like, a bit, but I don't know, I can separate two things, you know what I mean? I really like it. I really like this book. So that's the first one. The second book of the series is called Golden Sun. Golden Sun, Golden Sun, Golden Sun. The ending to this one, oh my god, like, it's mind-blowing. I'm just thinking about it right now. Like, it's insane, the ending of this one. Just one line, like, it's just the last little paragraph. My gosh. The ending of this book, crazy. And then the third one, which is also probably my favorite, is Morning Star. So this is the third one. You can stop at the end of this book. It kind of wraps the series up as a whole. But ultimately, these books are about war and bringing down a society, right? So first and foremost, they're very heavy, very intense, and not very happy books. Happy things and positive things don't really happen very often. So it's, yeah, be prepared. It's not super happy or positive. I'd say this one is probably where, like, the most positive stuff happens. But you can sort of finish at this one if you wanted to. But if you don't want to, you can keep reading, because guess what? There's another 3 books for you, soon to be 4. The 4th one, like the 7th book, hasn't come out yet, and there's no release date, so the 4th book is I Am Gold. These ones kind of look at the reality of what happens when you bring down, like, a society, or you start a war, basically. And yeah, I'm trying to describe it without kind of spoiling things, but yes, enjoy anything you put in front of me. So this is going to be my next book that I read, because I did really like the Fourth Wing series. So this is the third one, Onyx Storm, which, I mean, the whole world is reading it probably right now, so I have to dodge spoilers left and right until I finish Lightbringer and can actually start reading Onyx Storm. And so that's the third book in the series. I'm going backwards for this one. The second one is Iron Flame. Whoa. I never realized how big Iron Flame actually is. Wowza. This is the second one, Iron Flame. The Fourth Wing series is by Rebecca Yaros as well. Iron Flame. And then the first one, of course, is Fourth Wing. Now, if you don't know what Fourth Wing is about, I will read the blurb, but it took BookTok by storm, which I think is actually how I heard about it in the first place, was because everybody was raving about it. Welcome to the brutal and elite world of Basquiat War College. 20-year-old Violet Sorrentale was supposed to enter the scribe quadrant, living a quiet life among books and history. Now, the commanding general, her tough as talent's mother, has ordered Violet to join the hundreds of candidates striving to become the lead of Navarre dragon riders. But when you're smaller than everyone else and your body is brittle, death is only a heartbeat away. Because dragons don't bond to fragile humans, they incinerate them. With fewer dragons willing to bond than cadets, most would kill Violet to better their own chances of success. The rest would kill her just for being her mother's daughter, like Satan Risen, the most powerful and ruthless wing leader in the Riders Quadrant. She'll need every edge her wits can give her just to see the next sunrise. Yet every day the war outside grows more deadly. The kingdom's protective wards are failing, and even worse, Violet begins to suspect leadership is hiding a terrible secret. Everyone at Basquiat has an agenda, so sleep with one eye open, because once you enter, there are only two ways out: graduate or die. From what I've seen of the third book, there's like a sort of content warning at the beginning, so I don't think it's going to be a very happy book either. I think it's just going to be just as much as emotional turmoil as Red Rising is, because Rebecca made it clear that she's not afraid to kill off main characters, so, which I kind of like. I like when a book has stakes, when the author isn't afraid to kill off somebody important. It just adds to one, especially if you're writing about war and battle taking place. It's completely unrealistic to have every single main character live, in my opinion. So yeah, it just raises the stakes and just makes it a little bit more of an interesting read, I find. My room is starting to get light because it has just become daytime outside. it's probably because it's a prequel, right? But still, it's a prequel for a very popular series. So I don't have a review to give for these books because I haven't read them yet. But I've heard really good things and I will read them eventually one day, I swear. Sorry, I'm kind of leaning back, I'm hiding behind my microphone. My apologies. And another book by Sarah J. Maas that I also haven't read is Crescent City. I tried reading Crescent City because everyone was raving about it and I could not understand. I couldn't understand anything. And I've been told now to sort of read through it, like read Akatar and then Throne of Glass and then Crescent City, but you know, when you start a fantasy series and the first chapter is just complete confusion because they're trying to world build. It was like that. I mean, it was that, but 5 million times worse. I couldn't get behind it. So I don't know if I will ever return to Crescent City. I don't really see it happening. I might change my mind, but I might also end up getting rid of this book. So yeah. And now the Akatar series. I have read all of Akatar, but I only own the first and the last book, funnily enough. The first, which is A Court of Thorns and Roses, and the last, which is A Court of Silver Flames. And the reason for that is I bought the first one to read, and then my friend let me borrow the rest of hers. But then when it came to the last book, she was lending that to somebody else, so I just bought it myself because I couldn't wait. I just wanted to, finish reading it. So that's why I only have the first and the last book. Most people's favourite book is the second one, which is A Court of Mist and Fury. My favourite is the third one, which is A Court of Wings and Ruin. That's my favourite. I can read the back of this one. Feyre is a huntress. The skin of a wolf could bring enough gold to feed her sister. The skin of a wolf would bring enough gold to feed her sisters for a month, but the life of a magical creature comes at a steep price, and Feyre has just killed the wrong wolf. Taken prisoner by a high Fey lord, Feyre learns that her masked captor is hiding even more than his piercing gaze suggests. But as Feyre's feelings for Tamlin begin to burn through every warning she's heard about his kind, a shadow is falling across the land, and if Feyre cannot fight it, she will lose everything. This one is written not in Feyre's point of view, but in her sister Nesta's point of view. Mine is really dirty because I had it in my bag and I spilled, I think easier when it's my property that I've spent my money on. Moving on to probably the only book series in my collection that I didn't like, that I really did not like. I actually DNF'd the second one. DNF is did not finish, and that is the Bowless series by Lauren Roberts. I really did not like this book. I had to push myself to even finish the first one. It's just meh. I do not understand the hype that this book has. Like I said, I'm very easy to please with books. Everybody's on their way to work this morning. But this one, it's just... it was poorly written. It was meant to be enemies to lovers, but I did not get that at all, because you read from her point of view and his point of view, so I know that they both like each other. So it was like, what's the point? Yeah, so I really didn't like it. And then the second book, Reckless, I couldn't even finish it. It was just... horrible. I think these books are really bad. I'm sorry if anybody likes these ones, but I really don't like them. And I probably will never return to finish this one or continue reading the series at all. I think if I really want to know what happens to the people in these books, the characters in these books, I'll just see people talking about it, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's just not for me. It's not for me, unfortunately. This next one is a little different than the others. This is a manga. It's the Alice in Borderland manga. I only have the first edition, and I was given this for my birthday. I really liked the TV series for this, and I actually feel like rewatching it again. It was announced that they're doing a third season, which should be interesting, because the manga ends where season 2 of the show finishes, so there's no content for them to go off for the third season. So I don't know what they're going to do. But it's really good. It's like Squid Games, but better. It's so much better. If you liked Squid Games, you'll like Alice in Borderland. It's a Japanese show. It's really, really good, and I really recommend it. My favorite character is probably Mira. Okay, I'm gonna cut that out. I just spoiled something in the show, so yep. This is another standalone book that I have so far. This is The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. Another author who's kind of blowing up right now for his epic fantasy series. I've heard nothing but great things about Brando Sando, as they call him. At least people I know talk, that's what they call him, Brando Sando. This is the first book of the Mistborn series. I'm yet to read it, but I think after I finish reading Onyx Storm, I might try reading this one and starting this one. This is another 7-book series, and it is very smoke, just deep, heavy breathing, and a curious dripping sound. My hands on the doorknob. Inside the room, somebody giggles, low, throaty, sadistic. There's a ripping sound, followed by snaps and crunches. My hand turns, the door opens, hell is revealed. When Grubs Grady first encounters Lord Loss and his evil minions, he learns 3 things. The world is vicious, magic is possible, demons are real. He thinks that he will never again witness such a terrible night of death and darkness. He is wrong. So this is the first book of the Demon Hunter series. I've never read the other ones, but I did really like this one. I haven't read it for many years, but it's kind of creepy, it's kind of scary, so I wouldn't mind rereading it again someday. Terrain going by, and then of course we have the saga of Darren Shan. Is that not the author's name? Whatever. Anyway, so there are, I think it's like 8 books. 3, 6, 12. 3, 6, 12, 15. Am I reading that right? Oh, there's 12 books. 3, 6, 9, 12. I was skipping 9. So there's 12 books in this series. This is the first 3 compiled into one whole book, so they're not very big at all. And then this is the next 3 compiled into one book. I've never finished the series because I never got the last 3, but this one is the Vampire Blood Trilogy, so it includes Cirque du Freak, The Vampire's Assistant, Tunnels of Blood, and then this one is Vampire Mountain, Trials of Death, and The Vampire Prince. I feel like this is another one I have to go back and reread and maybe even try and finish, because I did really like them. They're really good books. The movie was, not very great. Has Josh Hutcherson in it though. But yeah, I recommend. These are pretty good. Okay, I'm going to quickly go over my last 2 because people are, you can hear it, all the cars passing, all the trucks outside, you can see the daylight coming through my window. It's morning time, there's construction that goes on around my house, and everyone's rocking up to work, so it's gonna get noisy, and my stomach's going. It's very chaotic. I tried a new filming time last night, and it kind of worked out, kind of hasn't. So my last 2 is the Crooked Kingdom duology. So the first one is the 6 of Crows. This is by Lee Bardugo. 6 of Crows. This is another multi-point of view book. I think it's done right as well. There is maybe 1 or 2 characters I don't really care to read their point of view, but it's fine. Criminal prodigy Kaz Brecker has been offered a chance at a deadly heist. Break into the Ice Court, a military stronghold that has never been breached. And retrieve a hostage whose knowledge could change Grisha magic forever. To succeed would mean riches beyond Kaz's wildest dreams, but he can't pull it off alone. A convict with a thirst for revenge, a sharpshooter who can't walk away from a wager, a runaway with a privileged past, a spy known as the Wraith, a heart render using her magic to survive slow moving to get into, but once I got into it, I really, really, really enjoyed it. And then the second